Hi everybody. So today's class is really going to be a review. So we finished up everything from Unit 1 and today is meant to just kind of put it all together because on Thursday when we have class again we're going to have a test. So we're just going to go over a couple of things. I'm going to explain how we're going to do the review today and then you'll be all set by the time Thursday rolls around and we do have a test. In class what I'm going to do is have everyone share their comic strips. Uh, we're not going to do this with the full class, but last time your homework was to create a 4-panel comic strip to kind of show the transfer of energy, starting with the sun as our, primary ultimate source, and showing how that then transfers to, you being able to do an activity of some kind. And so you did this at the bottom of your 7B page. I'm just going to put everybody in breakout rooms for maybe 5 minutes just to share out what you had, maybe what food you chose, what activity you did, and maybe even share a picture of it, which would be amazing. So that's kind of the first part. Then we're going to launch into the actual review and creating a one-page review, and I'll show you an example of one that I did. So the goal is to make what we call a one-pager. And a one-pager is basically a study guide for you. Instead of me, giving you a bunch of, words and vocab and specific sheets of paper, you are going to synthesize your own and make a one-pager that will act as a study guide for you. And then on Thursday, it'll be a great resource for you. Our tests are going to be open notes, so you will have your whole notebook, but putting it all together on one page is nice. So part of that on the left, we're going to have our key vocabulary that we're going to come up with together. And then on the right-hand side, we're going to really make that one-page review. Why are we doing this? Well, it helps you review. It helps you put together concepts. So you have to kind of figure out how they all fit together and put it on the page. And it really makes you think a little bit more deeply about the material. It also allows you to be creative, which is nice. We don't always have the freedom to be super creative when we're taking our notes. So it helps you kind of interact with the material, understand it a little more, and be creative at the same time. So things that are going to be on your one-pager, and I'll show you some pictures. It's going to be a single sheet of paper, so you shouldn't have any flaps or fold-outs or anything like that. And if you're worried, we're going to put our vocab on another sheet so you don't have to worry about that taking up space. It has to be handwritten and hand-drawn. You can't just copy and paste photos from the internet and or your previous notes. It should be hand-drawn. I encourage you to have a symbolic or colorful border around the edges just to kind of show maybe highlighting creativity, but also the material you're learning. You should have at least 3 colorful drawings or diagrams. So we've learned enough stuff in Unit 1 where you should be able to come up with at least 3 pictures of something to illustrate what you've learned. And then if there are any key main ideas or equations, those things should be included. And we have learned, some main ideas, and we have learned some equations. The one other point I want to stress is that you should not, fill it corner to corner with words and, size 5 fonts to try to basically just rewrite every single journal entry on one page. That is not the goal. The goal is really to kind of think about everything carefully and choose the most important things to add rather than just adding everything. So here are some examples. It doesn't follow along exactly with what we have learned, but here's, kind of a basic measurement one where someone did mass and volume. And the equation in the center here is that density is mass over volume, and it kind of makes this little heart, M and V, which is kind of where the border came from. And you can see that it's not taking up all of the space. It's colorful. It has key things in boxes, and so on. If I click on this other link, it'll take you to a place where you can kind of see where other sample one-pagers live. So science tools, symbiosis, which is an ecology thing, energy. You can kind of get an idea of what, our next topic of study, right? Mitosis in the cell cycle. Meiosis is a thing we'll learn about. So you can kind of get an idea for how much space people are taking up, what it looks like, the visual aspect of it, and so on. Here's a couple other ones. These are physics ones, but you can still get an idea. They're actually a little bit wordy than what I would recommend, but you get the point. Okay. And I'll show you a picture of mine too in a minute. So the way that we're going to start this is I'm going to first collect everybody's vocabulary and compile it while you get to work on the one-pager. So to do this, I'm going to put everybody in breakout rooms for 10 minutes, and you guys are going to record or identify the key vocabulary. And so if you're watching this not during normal class, this might already be done for you. But we're going to get into groups, and I'm going to have each group kind of formulate a list of vocab words. So you can kind of see here what that looks like. And I'm going to go through and real quick just take out the and 8 because we only, in our class, had 7 entries. But you can see in each column, you're going to kind of go through the pages and pick out what you think is the vocab, super important vocab. And then I'm going to look at that and compile a list for us. So that's going to be about 10 minutes. And once that happens, I will look at all those lists and I'll kind of create a compiled list of vocab that we will return to at the end of class. But if you're watching this later, then go to the slideshow and you should see all those words there. The rest of the class is just going to be dedicated to work time. So you can see I did one here on the right for my Unit 1 review. I didn't necessarily include everything, but you can kind of get a sense of the vocab words that I put on the left and the drawings that I chose to do on the right. And so totally your choice, but you can roughly see what I did. And remember to think about the directions on how to do that. A single sheet of paper, handwritten. It should be colorful, symbolic, border around the edges with drawings and diagrams, and having most of the main ideas. And so that's going to take up all class. So thinking about, what the class is as a whole, we introduced the idea of what a one-pager is. We developed a key list of vocab that, as you can see in my example, will be compiled on the left-hand side of the page. So once you get that compiled list, you guys will go through and kind of define them on one side. Your one-pager will be on the other. And then there was work time. So between now and Thursday's test, the job is to finish the one-pager in your notebooks. And I might have you snap some photos. I'll let you know on Thursday. But the test itself is going to be on Thursday. If you have any questions or need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks.